Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, September 7th. Just going to run through the morning charts. Hopefully, everybody had a great long weekend. Anyways, here we've got the price of gold. You can see this morning we've had a bit of a drop and it's making somewhat of a bounce back. It's going to test into this resistance of 1250 area where there's been quite a bit of congestion the past couple of days. Even though it's been the long weekend, futures market remains open on Sunday and Monday. The volume was very light, but there was action in here. So anyways, gold's broken down, and now it's just kind of bouncing back up to test that level, and we'll see where it goes from there. If I pull up the daily and intraday chart of gold, you can see we are trading right into the upper resistance range. The previous highs where the big sellers stepped back in, eventually took control and pulled it down. We've seen gold continue to rally up on light volume, but if you look, you see these rallies and then these little flags, and then you see a rally and then a flag and another flag and a rally. We've got another flag right now. It is starting to, this pattern here is starting to round out. It's slowly working its way to become more and more round, and a lot of times what happens is when you get to the stage, and we are having a mini kind of bull flag still, we could see a pop, could break these highs, but depending what happens, we could see a big selling step in, similar to what we saw over here. And as it pops, it's going to suck a bunch of people in. They're all going to go long. I think gold's got the next gold rally, and then we'll see the big guys step back in, and then it'll get crushed, and it could still fall down. I still feel as though it could fall down to the 1220, 1200 area, and from there we would have to reanalyze. But because we've gone up on really light volume, and it's just inching its way up and we're at pretty major resistance, I think it's just a matter of time before somebody big steps on it and really pushes it down. So that's what I see for gold on the daily chart. If we take a look at the 60-minute chart, you can see last week we had a nice pop, and we saw some good selling step in. Every time we had a pop, we got some pretty sharp selling. You can see the volume. We had a sharp drop there on the jobs report there on Friday. Overall, it's trading sideways right now, but it did rally up on strong volume, so it is still a bull flag, which is what we see on the daily chart. And if we kind of just draw a triangle here, you can see it's going to start to move into the apex here, and eventually we're going to see a breakout in one direction or the other. But we did get shaken out over here on Friday, and so we're not in gold right now. If we take a look at the price of the US dollar, this is a 60-minute chart. I'm zoomed out a couple weeks here just to get a look. More or less, if we just draw a couple trend lines here, gold's been channeling, or sorry, the US dollar's been channeling down. It's been broadening, and if it's broadening in a downward pattern, it means it's starting to get the selling is starting to weaken. Anyways, it looks like we've got some room for the US dollar to rally still. If we have that, it's going to put pressure on the equities. We could see this move up this week. It'll put pressure on equities, it'll put pressure on oil, and it could put pressure on gold. Gold seems to be trading on its own though, so sometimes it moves with the dollar, sometimes it doesn't. You can't really say what gold's going to do when the dollar moves anymore, just because it's been trading in sync and out of sync with it for the last quite a few months. Anyway, so it does look like US dollar could continue higher, and of course that'll put pressure on oil. If I pull the oil chart up, this morning it's down fairly nicely from the Friday high. We had the Monday and Tuesday morning it's down nicely. If we take a look at the overall chart, we've got a big move down. We've got this big bear flag that formed here, and then we had another move down, a breakdown out of that, and more or less we've got this pattern here that's just coming up and it's testing this level. If we just draw some quick trend lines, it's a simple pennant formation or a bear flag, depending how you want to look at it. But this is a continuation pattern, and most times it'll continue in the same pattern as direction as the previous trend was. So it looks like we could still head down here. It looks really nice. We're still in this pattern. We could see it bounce up to $75 area. It could ping pong around in here for a bit, hopefully break to the downside, and then it'll reach our first target around 71 or so. So that's what I'm looking for in crude oil. Now if we take a look at the SP 500, this is a 60-minute chart. Last week you can see the big rally we had. It broke previous high. Once it broke the previous high, we saw a huge pop, short covering, and breakout traders. We've had this big trend up, and more or less now it's through overnight trading. It's broken this somewhat of a support trend line, and it's just kind of floating down here, and it's now trading underneath the 21 and 50 period moving average on the 60-minute chart. So we'll see what happens today. The market is extremely overbought after this huge run up, so I do expect we're going to see some type of pullback, and the question is how far and how will it unfold. But the trend is strongly up from last week. It was pretty much nothing but buying volume moving in, so I would expect dips to be bought. So I don't really want to try and play the short side too much unless I get a really good looking intraday pattern and volume confirms that it's a weak move up. Usually I want to see a drift up on really light volume, so I'll keep an eye on that. But that's it for now, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.